guys, welcome to the Lego podcast. मैं हूँ आपकी host Noor, and today on this episode, you know how our main motive of this podcast is ke, but don't let go your dreams. Like even if you're juggling and even if your parents don't agree with you, or you have to convince them a little bit, like how to get your own way, and how our guests have struggled in pursuing their dreams. So, Aj, we have with us Mr. Taha Hussain Khan. Wow. Okay, so Mr. Taha is a photographer, a director, a cinematographer, a producer, a full-time university student, and he also owns a production house. So our first question with him would be like, how do you manage university and working full-time?
With university, it's not easy straight off the bat. Like for the past 36 hours, I've only slept like 1.5 ghantas. So that should tell you कि मेरी कितनी बजी हुई है. But I started off with photography because for me, I was very intrigued by the idea of like freezing time altogether and like, how you can capture like years upon years or just like memories in just a single click. And since I used to move a lot because of my father's job, so photographs became that one thing that I could like, travel back in time to. And I was really interested like in the idea that, you press the button of the camera and you just shutter click hota hai and it just freezes time altogether, like let it be a waterfall or like this image on a street or anything. So that's how I got into photography to begin with. And a lot of my photography is like focusing on like footsteps, reflections, and just like generally street photography where I'm just capturing the moment instead of like composing it all together.
That's so interesting. I feel like तुम्हारे ये कहने से I might get more into the field of. I feel like photography itself, like capturing moments is like a very surreal and like something that you might cherish forever. Like they're like capturing moments and you're gonna remember them forever.
Exactly. And then it got interesting for me when I started adding my own perspective and my own view to it altogether. And that is when like I was like, yo, this is like a whole new world, because the way I see things is generally slightly different from the how the world perceives it. And I realized that very early on because I used to have very different opinions about a lot of general things. So when I started to apply those practices in my images, they just started to create beautiful images altogether.
That's so great, man. So you started off with photography. Like, where are you now, and how long was the journey, and how difficult was it?
Ooh,
yeah, like how did you how did you like get on to like pursuing it, itna aage tak ke you're basically studying it in university as well as like pursuing it as a career?
It was a really long journey in this. Like this idea I had of capturing moments was back somewhere around 2013, 2014.
That's so long ago, man.
Yeah, and I got my first camera in 2017. So that was a 3-year struggle on its own, convincing my parents to let me get a proper DSLR camera and then let me do this. And then from that to like letting me study this as a proper degree and letting me practice this.
As a career itself. Like.
Samjho, that's like from 2017 till like 2021, 22, something like that. So... yeah, man, it's been a very long journey
to get where you are right now.
And as of right now, like in the start, my parents were like straight off the bat, "Yeah, this is just a hobby. You can just do it." And I was just like, "This is not just a hobby, man. This is not just a hobby because I feel so passionately about this, and I feel like I can do so much more with this, and I want to make my career out of this." So naturally, as any desi parents, the question came, "Ke कमाओगे कैसे बेटा इसमें?"
Exactly.
And that was the point where I had to start proving myself repeatedly so that I could get their approval and get them to allow me to study this. So the story starts off in Malaysia.
Oh.
So yeah, I went there to study after my A-levels. I went there to study business information technology.
Wow, wahan se yahan, like the whole journey, man. It's very interesting.
This is where it gets interesting because that was a very dull IT, business, e-commerce sort of thing. And after my first semester, I just gathered up the courage and switched my degree altogether without them knowing.
Without them knowing what?
Yeah.
What? That's That's very interesting that you switched it
Huh.
without them knowing.
And since Malaysia mein main akela tha, and I was like, just me and my camera, it was a romantic love
Let's
story
go.
altogether, because I was just exploring the streets, getting off at random stations, me and my camera every weekend. It was
A
perfect.
cute little date with your camera.
Yeah.
Out for a walk.
Yeah, and that's where I like perfected my skills to the point where I could like blindfoldly do all the settings on the camera.
That's insane. So like उसके बाद क्या हुआ? When you like finally told them कि bro आपने जो पढ़ने के लिए भेजा था वो तो मैं कर ही नहीं रहा.
यार उस वक्त कुछ हो नहीं सकता था, because I wasn't coming home for at least another 6 months, and the fees was already paid because I paid that myself. I didn't tell them, and they couldn't do anything because they were there, I was there, and I'd already done it. So literally अब
A
कुछ
very
हो नहीं सकता.
rebellious move to like pursue what you wanted to.
Yeah, definitely.
Like actually very interesting.
And that's how I started photography. Mostly street photography, portraits. I dabbled in and out with portraits, but unless like there was some particular settings I enjoyed, वैसे I just found portraiture just event and just random stuff. I was just
Yeah.
like, that's not my cup of tea, because that was just straight up boring, man. I couldn't do anything. It was just like same thing all over again.
वही सब post कर
हाँ.
and everything.
So yeah, that was just very boring for me. Things got interesting when I started to. Okay, so I don't know how familiar you are with time lapses and hyperlapses.
Okay, I am. Yeah.
So
I feel like मैं वो देखती हूँ like sunrise वाला and everything and like the whole time lapses.
yeah, so I was interested in capturing those, but here was the problem. The easier way is to record a video, speed it up, slow it down, whatever. Thing was that my laptop could not process a video that big. So I started doing the longer method where I was taking stills from my camera for X interval of time,
Oh.
and then like compiling those images.
Like frame by frame खुद compile करके.
Yes.
My
and
God, you literally like पहले ज़माने में like film like stop motion बनाने के लिए करते थे.
Exactly. And that just allowed it for me to be like, play with it a lot more in terms of just a normal video, because I had so much more room. Instead of just like one video file, I had like thousands of images which could be graded individually and like animated individually.
That's actually so interesting.
Sahi hai. I would set up my tripod in my room and just shoot from my window, and I had this one frame, and I perfected that one frame. Like, there was a building under construction in front of that, and I would just shoot it every day. Because और कुछ मैं था नहीं था
और
ना
कुछ
करने.
नहीं था करने को देखने के लिए.
So I would just shoot that, and that's how I like logged it in, and then that's when I sent in like the first one home, and my parents were like, holy shit, how did you do this? And when I came back to Pakistan, it was just like I had this thing. I wanted to travel. I wanted to be paid to travel to be like
Yeah,
travel photography
you
करने
wanted to be paid to like do
travel and
photography.
take pictures.
हाँ.
And everybody told me it was impossible, and I was like, no, मैं करके दिखाऊंगा. So
How did you actually do it?
I got this opportunity with Patangir where we were on the road for a month, and during
Bro. Oh, I love their content. I feel like मैं उनके like videos देखती हूँ और फिर it's like so fast and like उनका cinematic style is like so interesting. And उसके बाद जब मैं like university आई and you were like introducing yourself and everything, and I'm like, oh shit man, this man is behind this, like he worked with them. That's like so crazy. And like
Yeah.
Abibi, it's like their whole content style is very, very different and amazing. So like how was it working with them?
it was a very interesting experience because I got to experience and learn a lot of different things in a very short amount of time. So it was just like straight down the deep end. No lifesavers, nothing. Just
बस
figure
घुस
it
जाओ
out
काम करने, जो मिल रहा है बस करते रहो.
and figure it out.
Figure it
along
out,
the way.
yeah.
And as I was saying, in that particular trip where I've got a chance to do this, my photos ended up getting published on Sony, Middle East and Africa.
Bro, ना करो. What?
Really?
That is so cool. That's like, I think for a photographer, that's like a very big achievement.
Yes.
And you've
yes.
accomplished like a lot in like what you wanted to do. You basically did that.
Essentially, the goals I set out for myself regarding photography and all of that, I achieved. They were like the goals I gave myself in like 2017, 2018 for like a 10-year period. I achieved all of them in like 4 years.
Bro, हम तो क्या normal लोग तो like करते, एक तो अगर 10 year आपका goal है तो like you're like basically it's like plans out for like 15 years or so, like 18 years, but that's so cool.
But I've got to credit Patangir for this, for allowing me to have the opportunity to like, work in such a fast-paced environment where just things were just happening. I had to keep up with everything. And then COVID helped me in that regard because I was working throughout COVID.
I feel like anyone who's worked during COVID is like gained
Except for the
benefit.
first bit where it was like everything was
Yeah,
closed.
yeah,
That was the only time I was at home, but now I was straight up working. And after the Sony thing happened, I ended up producing a music video for Sony.
yeah.
And
What?
then I went on to photograph for the UN.
What? Man, this is like accomplishing everything what like a photographer or like, you know, a boy in Malaysia studying business would have dreamt of, or like accomplishing in life.
And like I'm at a point, mashallah, alhamdulillah,
Mashallah,
like,
mashallah, mashallah.
touch wood, ke, like I've shot with pretty much every camera brand there is. I've shot with majority of the lenses on the market. I've shot with cinema cameras, DSLR, mirrorless, phones, you name it, I've done it.
You've experienced it all that's out there.
Yes. And in terms of like, except from like long form films, I've done all forms of like short term to medium form content.
That is insane. I feel like the way you transitioned from, I feel like it made like काफी insane, like for the whole concept कि like you went to Malaysia to study business and now you're here accomplishing so much and like doing what you love to do, which is I feel like सबको तुम्हारा वाला तो बहुत crazy था and alhamdulillah you got so many opportunities to, you know, pursue it actually because you worked so hard and you built your whole portfolio. I feel like media mein, like, you know, photography or any artistic field or whatever, you need to build your whole portfolio.
Oh, definitely. Like,
uske liye you need to struggle on yourself. Like, you're not going to get paid work right away. You need to show them that you can do it, and that's how they're going to trust you.
One of the initial things that I did was I straight up started looking for photography competitions across the city, and I like as soon as I came back from Malaysia, and I like started applying in them left, right, and center, and I won a couple of them, and that's when my parents were like,
okay, ये कुछ कर सकता है, इसमें कुछ है.
no, because like I literally walked home with a new camera the other day, and they were like, yo, what the hell?
कहाँ किसके घर पे डाका मारे?
And I was like, I won that.
That is insane, man. I feel like everyone should, you know, just go out there and look for opportunities, like search for opportunities in whatever they want to do. Aajkal, like everyone, you know, is like, oh, hame ye karna hai, but like there are no opportunities and how do I accomplish this and everything. But I feel like you just go on with it and whatever you want to do, you just find it for yourself.
Honestly, you just got to start doing it. Like,
yeah, you just have to start.
If you're just gonna sit around waiting for the perfect opportunity, perfect moment, nahi milega. You just got to start doing it. What you have, wherever you are,
whatever you have, with whatever you have. I feel like specifically इस field में everyone just, you know, cries about the equipment. कि oh, मेरे पास तो camera ही नहीं है, मैं कैसे shoot करूँ? But in this like modern age, you can shoot with anything.
Start, dude. Just start doing it. Equipment aa jayega, mil jayega. Life finds a way, man. Honestly, I'm saying this from experience. There were times where I had to do like projects and I didn't straight up. I didn't know ye ya to kaise hoga, or I didn't have the equipment for it. But life found a way. Like I tell you this one time I had to shoot this stop motion. And since I had done hyperlapse and so this bandi contacted me, like, you know, can you do a stop motion video? And I was like, yeah, I can do it. But that's when it got interesting because she said, I want you to do stop motion for like furniture, like large ass furniture. And then I was like,
how do you do that?
Okay, I know how to do it in theory, but like, how do you do it in practically? Because like the furniture is like as big as this room we're sitting in. So I set up like this camera in the corner of the room and then slowly moved inch by inch the furniture. And that particular set took me like over 14 hours to shoot.
Oh my God.
But the results was amazing.
Amazing. I mean, it's like वही कि कितना आप मेहनत लगाते हो किसी में, and like that exactly कि like if there's a will, there's a way.
Oh, definitely.
You know, आप बस इरादा बनाओ and you're gonna get doors open in front of you to like do it, and like but उसके बाद ये भी नहीं कि opportunity आ गई, but like, you know, put in all the work.
Opportunity बनाओ यार.
हाँ. और अगर मिल गई है तो like, you know, don't waste it.
Oh, definitely.
Like,
try
put
to
in
make
all your work.
Try to make the most out of it. Try to make as many connections as you can. Talk to people. Just don't be shy. Just don't be afraid to put yourself out
काम
there.
है.
काम है मतलब दिखाओ.
And you're talented, bro. Like really, like actual. आपने इतना सारा accomplish कर लिया. Like you've done so much. What are your future plans? Like you accomplished your 10-year, you know, goals 4 साल में. अब क्या plans?
Yeah, that is. I actually took really long time to like decide what I want to do next, and I feel given the industry, I want to build my own brand, build my own image in terms of my work and in terms of my reputation. So a lot of my goals revolve around that, but the thing that interests me like insanely now is adding this whole new realm of realism to photography and just to like still images, to just bring them to life. I think that's very much possible with the advancements of AR and VR.
So you want to do that in future and you want to accomplish that.
Oh, definitely. I've already started working on it.
Let's go.
And like, you know, this
I can't wait to
technology
see
does
it.
not even exist for the larger part in this country. So whatever's being done on the international market, it is mind blowing, I tell you, Noor, because imagine this one photograph. It's okay. So before I get into the technicalities and the details of it, let me just give you a slight example. I dabbled a little bit with digital art as well. So what I used to do was I used to go out, take a photograph, bring it back, bring it into Photoshop, and then I would just used to create an art piece out of that image. Say, and the art pieces were usually very hypnotizing and very engaging. So imagine this is a rickshaw standing in front of you. Uske piche there's this like lucid words just floating around. And
I can
just,
already imagine it, like I can already visualize it.
yeah, and this like it's just like greens and purples, very non-rickshaw and non-real life
yeah.
colors. So just imagine, you see the image and then you see it through a phone and you can see yourself walking through the rickshaws and experiencing the lucidness.
I mean, just like, visualizing it in my mind, it feels so surreal. And to get to do, if like this is possible to actually get done,
Oh,
like
it's
technology wise,
definitely
it's gonna
possible.
be insane.
Like just out of the top of my head, what I was working on the other night.
Yeah.
I was working on creating a 3D hologram
Bro.
because I was bored.
क्या लोग बोर होके कोई Netflix पे series देखते हैं, they scroll through TikTok or Instagram for like mindless stuff, which is not even helpful. अब तुम hologram like
Yeah,
that's so cool.
I've actually had jobs where I had to scroll on Instagram mindlessly for like hours upon hours because that was literally my job description. So now me scrolling Instagram is samjho 80 to 90% for research and just finding out what other cool shit are doing. That allows me to find creators and people from all over the world. From like I follow people from like Russia to Nepal to like Australia, man.
I feel like social media has like broadened perspective. Like you can connect to so many people like all around the world, and you can just find inspiration from anywhere in the world.
Oh, definitely.
It's like not restricted to like a certain area या आपको कहीं specific exhibition में जाके देखने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. Meet certain people. You can just see it through social media, and it's like so insane.
Oh, 100%. Not just in terms of inspiration, but also in terms of how people are using tech and like how they're pushing boundaries with it. And that really just gets your brain going on like what you can further do with it and how you can bring it to your, add your own spin to it.
Bro, अच्छा तुम तो like professionally करते हो ना? Okay, we're both classmates, yeah, and I'm also studying. मैं तो like literally बच्ची हूँ सभी इसके सामने क्योंकि मुझे कुछ आता नहीं है.
No.
I was going through this like there's this new 36-day type challenge.
Yeah.
I've been super into illustrations and everything. I can't do it myself, but it's just आजकल my whole Instagram is full of typography and just digital art but like posters but like very interesting graphic design, not the basic one. It's like very like whole like psychedelic and like the hologramic like बहुत सारे, and like this 36 type day challenge wala, and just to see the way people have played with this one character. Like अभी उनके ये हर एक दिन एक अलग letter होता है, and artists all around the world take their art, play on it. And it's so interesting because everyone has their own little, take on it. And just to see that people can create that is so insane.
Oh, 100%. Because see, if you're I really encourage you to participate in challenge like this. I myself have done like multiple editing challenge, multiple like short video challenges, photography challenges. And the idea is like, see, it forces you to sit down at your computer and create something every day. That's I think amazing in my opinion, because eventually you're going to run out of ideas. That's where it gets interesting, because that's when you're going to start playing around and seeing, oh मैं ये भी कर सकती हूँ, oh shit ये भी हो सकता है, and that just like opens the doors for you altogether. And honestly don't be afraid to fail. क्या होगा ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा,
Exactly.
नहीं
Like,
गंदा
क्या ही हो
बनेगा
गया?
ना,
हाँ.
बना तो सही. And honestly यार शेयर गंदा बने शेयर इट. इंस्टाग्राम है ब्रो, इजी सीन है,
Yeah.
जस्ट डालो सामान डालो, build up your portfolio so people love to have a connection के यार it shows कि you're not perfect but it also helps you as an artist to grow because like people see के where you started off with and where you are.
You know the whole growth process के like इस बंदे ने इतना काम like effort put in करके he you know got better.
Also if anything when you it's a good point for you as well because like when you look back at it then you like oh maybe like you know
This is where I started,
two years
yeah.
later you can look back at it and be like oh this is how I can do it better. And I've done that with my own photographs. Like I've sitting on edits for like years and then I was like oh this is how it's gonna work because I had a very okay so the very इतना हो ही गया तो पूरे detailed example बता देता हूँ. I took this picture of this girl jumping in the rain in a puddle but I only wanted only a certain part of the color reflection to be colored, the other to be black and white because just drowning. And I couldn't figure out for the life of me how to balance that. You know, it was just getting too much and I just let it be. I came back to the picture after like a year and a half and then I was like, and it just hit me. Holy shit, this is how, it was so easy.
This is how it's done.
But having that image, that half done image on my desktop there, just like me looking at it like regularly, like not paying much to it, but just still there, I was still thinking about it. And that's how it got me to like, you know, to perfect that edit.
To learn that how to do it. I feel like इस time में, इस field में, sometimes you have the idea and sometimes you have the vision, but you lack the skills. I feel like to
write the idea down, bro. Write it down
so that you don't forget it whenever you like gain the skills.
Yeah. Like in Patangir, we've done ideas which we wrote like when Patangir was started, and then we were doing it like 4 years later or something.
That's
because like we have literally filled walls with ideas, and we're just like, okay, when it works. When we're gonna figure out, we're gonna figure out. We've done countless failed experiments. I cannot even tell you. Like there were days we were just like playing around, and we were trying to make something work, and it didn't work.
I feel like उनकी वीडियो से दिखता है the experimentation they do with the lighting, the angles, the you know the rate and every. It's like insane how they've taken content to like a very next level and how they play with it creatively. Like the ideas, the concept, and the execution of the whole, you know, the video is it's insane. And I feel like kid, you work with them and you have been a part of that, which is insane itself.
Yeah, I started off with them and they were like around 18-20K and I left them at like 82 or something. That's Instagram followers.
Yeah, we get that. It's okay. But it's like very... Now you have your own production house.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, what about it? Tell us more about that.
So basically, a model is very similar to that of Patangir, but the idea is to create what I want to create and how I want to create it. No boundaries, no client, no like nobody telling me what to do and how to do it. Just a platform for me and eventually other artists to experiment and just
Create
absolutely go nuts. And I think that's where the best form of art
like
stems from.
Yeah. I feel like you as like a young person and experimenting so much with your education and hobbies and career and everything, I feel like people should, you know, take the risk. Like you took a big risk. Like, you know, तुमने तो अम्मा पापा को बगैर बताए डिग्री चेंज कर दी मैन.
हाँ मतलब one possible and very likely circumstance was कि मुझे वो आके जूता मारे मुझे बोले कि बेटा बहुत हो गया कर लो वापस चेंज.
But see, you did something out of it, right? ये नहीं कि
I didn't.
You did something out of it. ये नहीं कि तुमने वो like ये नहीं कि वो drop out हो गया बस बैठे हुए घर पे. You made yourself what you are today and you proved to everyone कि मुझे ये करना था और मैंने करके दिखाया and I can do better and I'm learning. And I feel like this is what like everyone should like, you know, take a risk and just start whatever they want to.
Oh, definitely.
I feel like ये conversation मेरे लिए इतनी extremely motivational थी to like, you know, get out of my bed and bro like शौक है तो कर लो. क्यों नहीं कर रही हो? बैठी हुई क्यों हो?
क्या होगा ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा क्या होगा? नहीं बनेगा अच्छा. खैर हो गया.
कोई बात नहीं. Like see,
it's just going to be a learning experience for something new.
and you're just gonna, you know, practice and learn. And
वो नहीं बना तो कुछ और बन जाएगा यार.
I feel like जब like trial and error से ही बंदा सीखता है हर चीज.
Exactly. So don't be afraid to just try and just like do it, man. It's just an idea. क्या होगा यार? क्या होगा? What's the worst that's gonna happen?
Exactly. कोई बात नहीं. फेल हो रहे हो तो कोई है, वापस कर लो, सीख जाओगे. And basically you learn with like whatever your mistakes are. Okay, Taha, this was, I feel like हम भी बहुत ज्यादा देर कंटिन्यू कर सकते थे.
Oh, definitely.
मुझे मसला नहीं, मैं तो बैठी रहती. हम like बातें करते रहते.
I feel like we would go on for hours on this.
Insane. Actually, मैं मेरे दिमाग में भी इतनी सारी और बातें आ रही हैं like करने को, but हमने okay, we'll cut this short. And thank you so much for coming here for our podcast. It was insane and lovely talking to you, and you're such a talented, smart person. And guys, Taha is the nicest guy. I swear. जब मैं यूनिवर्सिटी में पहली दफा आई थी, he was like the most helpful guy. Like it's not down to earth, and he's so nice and he's so talented. Mashallah, mashallah, mashallah. And he's doing so good with his work, and he's very talented. So it was lovely having you here.
Thank you so much for having me. Kind of blushing right now, bro.
कोई बात नहीं. Okay, guys, see you in the next episode of the Lego podcast. Here we heard Taha, you know, telling how not to let go of your dreams. So see you in the next episode. Bye.